So folks, Alyssa Thomas has just delivered a brutal but unsurprising truth bomb that has completely blown open the cracks in StephanieWhite's Indiana Fever reign, exposing not only the coach's flaws, but also confirming what critics and insiders have been whispering for months. The Fever rolled into Phoenix, thinking they were battling for playoff survival, but instead they walked straight into a public takedown led by none other than Alyssa Thomas herself. And this wasn't some casual post-game comment. This was a full-throated declaration from someone who's been inside the system long enough to see exactly how flawed it really is. StephanieWhite must have been furious because when a former player openly says, "We knew every move you were going to make," that's not a scouting report, that's a full-blown exposé. Let's back up a moment. The Fever lost again. No shock there, but what hurt was watching a team with so much potential fold so easily against the Mercury. Fans, already weary of White's recycled, Connecticut, Sun-style offense, were left watching their team collapse like a cheap tent. And it wasn't just a loss. It was one of those defeats where the usual excuses don't hold water anymore. Sure, CaitlinClark was off the floor, Sophie Cunningham was unavailable, standard fare. But Alyssa's point was crystal clear. The schemes don't work anymore because everyone knows them inside and out. When Alyssa said, "We played together for 2 years, everything is pretty much the same. Defense, offense, we know everything they're about to do," it's a stunning indictment. Think about that. The Fever's playbook is so outdated and predictable that former players can call out every single move before the opening tip. Alyssa put up a near triple-double. 23 points, 9 assists, 9 rebounds. All while dropping that line like she was reading tomorrow's headlines. She was blunt. "We know what's coming. We planned around it. We know they want to get to the free throw line. We're there to limit second chances and contest every shot." It's one thing for opposing teams to figure you out. It's another for a former star to publicly declare your entire system is obsolete. What makes this even messier is the relationship here. StephanieWhite isn't just some coach to Alyssa Thomas. She's a former coach who should understand Alyssa's strengths and weaknesses better than anyone. Instead, Alyssa has pulled back the curtain, exposing White's tactics like a magician revealing another magician's secrets on live TV. This isn't gamesmanship, it's humiliation. The online reaction was swift and merciless. Fans demanded to know how Indiana is supposed to compete when opposing teams already have the entire game plan memorized. The answer is they can't. You can't compete when your head coach is stuck running a copy-paste system that opponents have drilled against for years. White promised adjustments, but where are they? Alyssa made it clear there are none. Defense and offense are stuck on repeat. "It's all the same," she said plainly. Then there's the drama between Dana Bonner and CaitlinClark. Oh yes, that was a highlight in its own right. The two exchanged heated words during the game, with Clark telling Bonner to take her tall, agenda-driven self down the court, and Bonner, towering over Clark, jawing back in an attempt to intimidate. Clark refused to back down, showing the kind of fire Fever fans want to see, if only it were channeled into a system that actually works. But under White's watch, Clark's talents have been shackled in a predictable, tired offense that even Alyssa's pointed comments confirm everyone knows inside out. This isn't about a bad night. It's about a coach who looks out of her depth. StephanieWhite has managed to win only one more game this season than Christie's sides did last year, and that was with a much stronger roster on paper. One more game. Let that sink in. We were sold on White as the steady hand who would take the talents of CaitlinClark, Aaliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, and Lexi Hall to the next level. Instead, the Fever looks like a cheaper version of last year's team, and the frustration on the players' faces is palpable. You don't need a coaching badge to see the signs. Aaliyah Boston, last year's Rookie of the Year, looks lost half the time. She's missing layups. And fans are already comparing her struggles to Angel Reese. And that's not even fair to Reese because she's still hitting her shots. Alyssa's comment about knowing everything explains Boston's regression perfectly. Defenses know exactly where she's headed, exactly how White intends to use her, and they shut her down every time. Meanwhile, Kelsey Mitchell puts up quiet, 29-point games. Solid, but not game-changing. Her points don't shift momentum or close out games, and that's not on her alone. It's a system that fails to capitalize on her scoring bursts. Lexi Hull fights hard and shows up when it matters. But one player's grit can't mask a broken system. The root of White's struggles is clear. She's stuck running Connecticut Sun basketball with the Fever. She's dragged this team down to her level, and it shows. And yes, Alyssa Thomas is a front-runner. She literally set a career high and didn't even bother with a press conference because StephanieWhite beat her. But that loss wasn't about offense or sets. It was about Ari McDonald going headfirst to the basket and Nate Tibbetts allowing it. The sarcasm here writes itself. StephanieWhite has been so thoroughly outcoached that Alyssa Thomas didn't even need to hide it behind jargon or cliches. She simply said what everyone was thinking. We know everything they're about to do. You can't buy that kind of honesty. Alyssa didn't just expose White's playbook. She tore down the whole illusion that this coaching staff has been spinning all season. The bigger picture is grim. The Fever are barely clinging to a playoff spot, choking when it matters most. For wins in their last 10 games, tied in losses with teams like the Storm and Sparks. Speaking of the Sparks, they're right on Indiana's heels, just one game back. Chicago may be a mess, but even they're laughing at the Fever's collapse. If Indiana falls apart now, it won't be because of injuries. It'll be because of a coach unwilling to adapt. And this isn't fresh criticism. Fans have been calling it out all season. The stale Sun-style offense, lack of defensive adjustments, reliance on isolation ball when Clark isn't playing. Alyssa Thomas just gave voice to what everyone has suspected. White isn't adjusting, she's recycling. And here's the kicker. Alyssa Thomas and Dana Bonner aren't just opponents. They're former players. White's favorites even. Watch White on the sidelines during Fever Mercury games. Does she seem fully committed to fighting for her current team? Or torn between past loyalties? Her body language reveals a coach caught between nostalgia and duty. You don't need me to tell you that nostalgia doesn't win playoff games. It loses them. Meanwhile, media silence is deafening. No tough questions, no accountability. The league is tiptoeing around the elephant in the room. StephanieWhite is coaching a team that reads like a children's book, and no one in the press is calling her out. That's why Alyssa's comment hits so hard. She said what reporters won't, what fans scream every game, with the authority of someone who's been inside the locker room. Now, if CaitlinClark doesn't return this season, and who knows at this point, some of that falls on White.